Hello and welcome to Books and Beyond. My name is Jim Bennett. I'll be your host. And this show is, I use this program to highlight local talent, writers, artists, photographers, just about anybody who's got a talent that they'd like to show or something interesting to say. I am also an author myself. I'm a chef by professional trade, but I've written two books, one, The Case of the Flying Corpse, and the second one, Accounts of William Gillette, both based at Gillette's Castle, featuring William Gillette as the main character. And I am also the co-chairman of the Southeastern Connecticut chapter of the Connecticut Authors and Publishers Association, which is a group of authors, publishers, agents, writers, illustrators, who get together once a month and we talk about our work, encourage each other, and do a lot of networking. I encourage anybody who has anything to do with the written word to look us up and come join the meetings. They're once a month, every third Monday. Usually we meet at the Groton Regency down on Route 12. And one of my favorite people is with me today, Tish Rabe. She is a best-selling children's author who's got over 170 books. She's written for Disney, Sesame Street, the Clifford books, Curious George. I gotta check my notes. There's so many, and Dr. Seuss. Now, the interesting part I've always found fascinating with Tish is that I always wanted to write a book, and it took me 40 years. She did not really set out to be an author.
That is correct. You're right. My dream in high school was to be an opera singer. So I went to college. I have a 4-year degree in vocal performance from Ithaca College in upstate New York. And I thought I was going to be a star on Broadway. Come on, Jimmy, why not?
Yeah, that's you.
Could have happened. Yep. Could have happened. But due to some circumstances, including the fact that I can't dance, who knew you had to dance? I ended up not being a singer, but I was lucky enough to get a job on Sesame Street in season 4. I am here to announce that this coming November is the 50th anniversary of Sesame Street.
Oh my God.
Who knew, right? It went on in November 1969. So I'm part of the committee that's launching the 50th anniversary celebration. But when I was at Sesame Street, they were really looking for authors. They didn't know they were going to have a hit show. Who knew? Big yellow bird, you know, monster that ate cookies. And my first book was written for Sesame Street.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And after that, I just kept writing and writing and writing.
And writing.
And writing.
Wow, that's fantastic. Now, I know you do a lot with schools.
Yes.
And recently you've gotten the moniker, the singing author.
That is correct. I love going to schools and meeting the kids and getting them excited about reading and writing. And over the years, I started singing during my presentations. And I realized that all the teachers were starting to call me the singing author. So about a month ago, I said to my web designer, why don't I just officially call myself the singing author? Everybody else does, so why not? So when I get to the schools, I really want to inspire the kids to keep reading and writing. So I've actually written a little song about the singing author. I'm the singing author, it's what I do, and I am proud of all of you. You read and write, and I can tell that you do it very well. Keep reading and writing, and you will see you're all authors just like me. And I always get applause. You know? Yeah. But yeah, inspiring kids to keep reading and writing is really what I'm all about.
I believe that so much in this day and age of social media. Kids with 4 years old with their iPhones, and you know,
it's true.
I wish people would realize that putting a book in a child's hand will shape their life.
Yes,
will
make all the
them
difference.
A much better person. Even all the studies, everything shows that children that read do much better, have a better understanding about life. Mm-hmm. So tell me about the virtual visits
to
yes,
schools. So this is fun. I love to go and see the kids, and hug the kids, and see them enjoying my books. But the reality is that I can't travel all over the world doing this, and I can't travel across the United States doing this. So I've just launched virtual school visits via Zoom internet technology, and I can sit in my basement and reach kids all over the place. And it's really fun and very different. And I'm on a screen in their gym or their auditorium. And after the visit, the teachers ask them, and they really believe that they've met me.
Right.
Really live. I mean, the distance now between screen and reality is getting so blurred.
Yes, it is.
But the wonderful thing for me is it's much less expensive. It takes me much less time, and the kids actually buy books, and I write book plates. I send them to the teacher, so everyone gets a book and with their name in it. And it's a lot of fun and easy. So I'm very excited about the virtual visits.
That is really great. It is incredible with the technology today that you
Yes.
can do that. Like you say, you can't just jump on a plane and fly to Des Moines, Iowa.
Exactly.
For a
Exactly.
third grade, reading day.
Yeah, right.
So
I have, but I'm trying not to.
Yeah. So that is great. And how long is it going to be before there's a little hologram of Tish Rabe?
There you
out
go. There you
So-
go. Well, the other thing that's nice about it is it's a lot less expensive. A lot of schools would love to have me come visit,
Right.
but they just don't have the budget for it. So the fact that I can do this for much less cost, but still reach the kids,
Right.
is awesome.
Right.
Really awesome.
That is great. And now you've also written a bilingual.
That's right. I'm very proud of my book called Love You, Hug You, Read to You. And it's in English. And what I wrote was studies have shown that if you have a child interact with a book, they learn to read faster than if they just sit and listen to you read to them.
Right.
So I came up with this book. And if you look at the cover, you can see these little ducklings, and they're all walking along. And if you can ask a child, who do you think is the big duckling on the right? And they'll say, the mommy duckling. And then you'll say, where do you think these ducklings were before they ended up here on this bridge? They'll say, oh, in the park. And then maybe somebody will say, I think they were at the library, because everybody's got a book. Well, now you've got the child involved with what's going on in the book. And I'm very proud of it. It's called Love You, Hug You, Read to You. I sing the book on my website. Who can stop me? It's my website, so what are you going to do? And then I'm very, very proud of the fact that as soon as I got it done, and every page has a little open-ended question. Why do you think the kittens are smiling? Whatever. They asked me to do it in Spanish and English. I do not speak Spanish. I wish I did, but I don't. But it is in Spanish and English, and it was translated by my friend Daniel Gonzalez, who did a beautiful job. And my friend Bibiana sings it in Spanish on my website.
Oh.
So the questions are in both English and Spanish. So people who are learning Spanish, that helps them, that they're English speaking, and Spanish speakers can help learn English.
Right.
Very, very proud of these books. So, yeah.
Good.
I wish I could tell you I could read it in Spanish, but oh no.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to tell you the title in Spanish.
My Spanish listening is limited to kitchen Spanish.
And maybe
from
some
the
of that we
edge,
shouldn't repeat. So,
Now, one thing I did want to mention,
Yes.
though you haven't brought it up,
okay.
but I'm going to still throw it in there,
Okay.
is that you also sing with a band.
Yes, I do. I do. I have a band called Tish Rabe and Friends, and we sing jazz. I sing everybody, Ella Fitzgerald, Natalie Cole, and contemporary country.
Right.
My husband plays in the band. He plays bass and banjo, and he's a huge George Strait fan, so we do all George Strait's country tunes. And we play right here in Mystic, Connecticut at the Steak Loft,
Yep.
Exit 90, probably 5 or 6 times a year.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
fun.
Check the local papers. It's usually in the
Yep,
papers.
it's usually in the paper.
And I urge
And
you
on
to
our
go down
website.
and check it out. It is a good show. I have actually caught
Oh,
part of one.
Thank
so,
you. Yes, you did.
Yep.
I saw you in the audience.
Trying to keep a low profile. Now, the other thing I wanted to bring up was you have been on the Wall Street Journal's best-selling list almost every year.
That is
A
correct.
dream of every author.
Every author.
For like once.
Right.
So,
We could just get it on there once. Yes, so over the years, I was writing for everybody. I mean, Blue's Clues and Nickelodeon and Clifford and Curious George and on and on and on. And when Dr. Seuss died in 1991, I submitted a rhyming book to Random House, which I am sorry to report they rejected. A brachiosaurus named Morris Aurorus had the best voice in the dinosaur chorus. He liked to play tennis and swim in the sea, but mostly he liked to eat fresh broccoli. So it's kind of a weird takeoff on green eggs and ham. And the sad news was they did not publish Morris Aurorus brachiosaurus. He remains unpublished, which drives me crazy. But they were looking for someone to take over a project that Dr. Seuss himself had started. He wanted to teach kids science, early readers science, by using his characters and rhyme. And died before he could finish the first one. So Random House created the Cat in the Hat's Learning Library, a series of science books for early readers. And for me, it was exciting because I had to go do all the research. They were all about science. Miles and Miles of Reptiles, the classic. Yeah. Is a camel a mammal? Oh. The answer to that is, by the way, yes.
Yes.
So we just jumped in, and to date, I have written 56 Cat in the Hat books. And in the middle of all of this, I did a book on space called There's No Place Like Space. And I'm proud to announce that this book is on the Wall Street Journal bestseller list every March. And that Random House had to completely revise it when everyone decided that Pluto was no longer a planet.
Oh.
We had a science book out there for kids with 9 planets. Now suddenly, oops. We only have 8. Now what are we going to do? We have 8 planets and a rock. So the Random House had to pull the original version, and you'll see the word revised right there on the cover. They had to be super careful to revise this down to 8 planets. And it was trickier than you think, because now you've got, every planet had a couple pages,
right,
and now he's hit the dust. But the reason I'm super proud of the Wall Street Journal notoriety is that it was not listed in children's bestseller. It was listed in nonfiction.
Oh, wow.
So the first year I won, I think, What the Heck Can I Eat was number 1.
Yeah.
Maria Shriver's new book was number 2. And There's No Place Like Space was number 3. So,
nice.
I mean, that was really, really exciting.
Yeah, that is fantastic.
It was awesome. Really, really, really cool. Yeah. So I've been writing for Dr. Seuss for, I don't know, 24 years.
Wow. See, my kids are all grown now.
Yeah,
stuff, so,
mine too.
Right, so I children's books is something I don't really
keep up with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is just incredible, though. I mean,
it really is. It's really nice.
What a journey. And I mean, you didn't even set out to do this.
Exactly. This was never the plan. And that's funny, because when I go to schools, my books are the Dr. Seuss books are designed for 1st and 2nd grade. But recently, I have started talking to older students, 4th grade, 5th grade, and the way I change my presentation, I do a PowerPoint, is to talk about the fact that this was not my original career path. I did not set out to be and dream and hope and pray to be a children's book author. And I always ask them, if somebody asked you today what you want to be, what would you say? And the hands all go up. And I'll never forget, last week I'm at this school, and the girl in the front, I said, well, now, just today, what do you want to be when you grow up? She goes, neurosurgeon. And I felt like saying, I hope you make that. Yeah. I hope this happens for you. But it's a lesson that your original path may indeed change. This was not, for any minute, what I set out to do.
Well, that's part of the reason why this what I try to point out here on the show.
Yes.
There's a lot of people like me, I'm a professional chef. Yep. I have been for 40 years.
And delicious, by the way. If you've ever had his bread pudding, I'm just saying, I'm not even going to start.
So but I've always wanted to be a writer.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And
yep.
it took me a long time to really sit down and do it, and then I did have a lot of help from friends, and Kappa helped me a lot because I think I was in Kappa a year and a half before I even printed my first book.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's what people need to realize. You know, if you have, if it's quilting or something like that,
Right.
do it, show it. You know, let people know that you do it.
I could maybe learn to speak Spanish still. What do you think?
Well, you know, that's one of those things that I've often, because working in the restaurant business,
Yep.
I used to have a lot of Spanish guys work with them, and at one time I could passably make myself understood. You know, I couldn't read it, and I couldn't, you know, watch a movie and really, but I could get the gist of things. You know?
Exactly. That's
but
so funny.
It quickly went away. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But now with younger children, though, it's also a big thing. They've shown that children in bilingual families,
Yes.
Chinese and English, Spanish and English, any language,
Yep.
the children will pick it up
So fast.
naturally.
Yep.
By the time they're 5 years old, they're speaking 2 languages.
That's right. My children, I have 2, and they didn't learn till middle school, at which point it was just really hard.
The only thing that I
Really
think is going to save me is that new app they have there where
Oh, yeah?
you can speak
Oh,
French.
you just speak it.
You can speak
yeah.
French and it translates
And
it
it'll
right to
translate it
English.
for
And
you.
somebody speaks to you and it translates it for you.
It'll translate it back.
Go all Star Trek, but if it
It'll be
works, it
great.
works, you know?
It's true.
Oh,
That's funny.
now, you did come out with a new Cat in the Hat book.
I have a brand new book. In fact, I was telling Jimmy earlier today that this is actually an exclusive on the Jimmy Bennett Show. This book has been out for 5 days. So over the years, we wrote the Cat in the Hat's Learning Library, all about science. The beach, the mountains, the animals, cat. I've got a cat book. I have a dog book. I have 20 of those books by themselves. And we were so excited when the Dr. Seuss Enterprises people let us do math. Now, I had never known anything about math of today because my youngest is 29. So I didn't know about the number line and 10 frames and the hundreds chart and blah. So I got a lot of help from a couple of local teachers, including Sheila Murphy Adams, who is a Kappa member, and I met her at Kappa. I am also a Kappa member. And she helped me with the new math, as did Stacy Daly, who's a teacher in Old Saybrook. And I was able to take these math concepts, which I didn't know at all, and put them into rhyme. And one of the fun things was I am allowed to write for the cat, the 2 kids, thing 1 and thing 2, and the fish. And all I could think of was I'm writing a book about math, and thing 1 is an odd number, and thing 2 is an even number. So I came up with this idea, it's the second to last page in the book, that it's the 100th birthday of the thing's Grandpa Stephen. He has 100 grandchildren. 50 are odd numbers, and 50 are even. Don't ask me where this stuff comes from, guys, because I don't know. But I was so excited. One thing that happens when you're a full-time author like me is you turn in your manuscript. The manuscript is the words for the book. But you never know what the editors in New York are going to keep in, take out. Also, Random House hires their own science person to make sure the science is absolutely correct. And I was so nervous. They were going to cut Grandpa Stephen's birthday. But so the day I got my review copy, and again, this book's been out 4 days on Amazon, the first thing I did was check out Grandpa Stephen, and he made it, which I'm very, very excited about. Random House is very, very careful that the science in these books is accurate.
Right.
Once you start rhyming, you can get off track really easily. And not only are these books checked for facts, they're checked for rhyme and rhythm, and vocabulary. One of my favorites is that I wrote was, when birds want to go on a winter vacation, they all take a trip and they call it migration.
Oh,
you would have gotten that.
Yep.
I've given you another second. You would have gotten that.
Yeah.
So anyway, and they're very, very careful that they're completely accurate. Not only the words, interestingly enough, but the pictures.
How you represent those.
How it's represented, and the color. I mean, if you've got a monarch butterfly that isn't orange, black, and white, it's purple and green, bam, you've got to do it
Whoa.
over again. So they are so, so careful. About 2 years ago, I heard from a group of people called, I think it's called Forever Friends or something, and they go outside and they capture and help reptiles that people have let go. You know, you bought your son a snake, thought it was a great idea at the time.
Right.
Yeah, not so much. So they bought a copy of my book, Miles and Miles of Reptiles, for every first grader in town in Pennsylvania. So I offered to come and do a free author visit to thank them. And the guy who was running the whole thing had read my book to his 7-year-old son. And he says to me, I was waiting to find a mistake. I figured there's no way. 42 rhyming pages about reptiles. Something in this is wrong. And he said, I got all the way to the last page and there were no mistakes. And I really felt great about that.
That is.
You know, he knows reptiles. This guy.
Well, I kind of know what you mean. Even like writing my books about Gillette's Castle in the early 1900s, I am surprised how many people try to call me out on things.
Oh, you said you made a mistake.
Well, like I referred to once in the book. I referred to New York as the Big Apple, and somebody said, "Hey, did they call it the Big Apple back then?"
Oh, yeah.
Turned out they did.
Yep.
You know, because I do my research too.
Yeah.
I try to, because I put a lot of, But anyways, one thing I've just thought of this, and I don't know, I've never asked you this. Who does your illustrations?
Very interesting. They did a worldwide search for someone who could draw like Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss wrote the words and he drew the pictures. So now they had a couple of authors to write the words. They didn't have anybody to draw the pictures. And they did a search and search and search. And the man who does these books, his name is Aristides Ruiz. He is based in New York, I think. And the interesting thing to share is that he and I have never spoken to each other, we've never emailed each other, and we've never met. The editors in New York, sort of like to keep everybody, doing what they're doing and keep their hands on the wheel.
They don't want you to cut them out.
That's right. I could just say, this red and white hat thing, I'm sort of bored with it. Let's make it blue and white.
Right.
So I've never met him. When this is all over, I will get on his website and reach out to him. I was invited to a big party at Random House for the art director, the only woman who actually worked with the real Dr. Seuss. And my husband had tickets to the U.S. Open tennis. Yeah. So we didn't go. And I found out later Aristides Ruiz was there. Oh. And I'm convinced I'm just not supposed to meet him. That's it. I'm just, someday I'll give him a call.
You see, now that's interesting to me. I didn't realize that. But when you write the words, do you like sketch out a little bit of, or do you?
Great question.
Do you write them like, I want a butterfly, a bird, and a fox in this picture, or is that how you do it?
It is absolutely my job to, on every single spread, that's 2 pages across, to write art. I go A-R-T, and I describe what I want on that page, what I'm seeing in my head. These books are very difficult because they're long. They're 42 pages, and they're all in rhyme. So now the interesting thing about that, I wrote a book called Oh, the Things You Can Do That Are Good for You, and I created my own characters. And one, because why not, I was going to be an opera singer, was the Zing Singing Zans, who's written a song about washing her hands. Wishly, washly, washly, wish, squishly, squashly, squashly, squish. Wash your hands carefully, it's up to you. Use soap and warm water, it's easy to do. Rinse them and while we all sing this refrain, germs from your hands will slide right down and all the kids sing with me, drain. Well, I wrote the Zing Singing Zans is singing, the Cat in the Hat is washing his hands behind her in the sink. What Aristides Ruiz did is has her singing into it in a bar of soap. It's adorable, and it was not my idea. So the illustrators bring a lot of magic to these.
Yeah, well, that's, I've a few times when I've talked to children's authors and stuff, one of the things they said is matching the pictures with the words. To keep the attention and give your intention, because even a small child, maybe he even can't read, can see the pictures, see the words, that association's got to help a lot. It's huge. I'm assuming,
I mean, the illustrator for Love You, Hug You, Read to You, I've worked with before. He's Frank Endersby from the United Kingdom. And his art style is so yummy. When you see those little ducklings, you fall in love.
I just think it's unbelievable that two people separate from each other
Yep.
can make such magic like that.
Right.
But it's a powerful thing, and
It is.
I have looked through your books. I confess, whenever I go into a
Bookstore, you check and see if they're there.
flip through them, and
Just see if they're there.
just
Right.
because I keep waiting for somebody to have a baby so I can buy a couple. But,
Well, there you go. I'm sure it'll happen eventually.
Oh, it'll happen eventually. My grandchildren will have all 170
There you
piled up around
go.
them, so.
There you go.
Now, are you working on anything new?
I am. I'm working on something new. I'm very passionate about kids learning a second language, and I'm designing a book that would be for really little kids. So, uno, one, dos, tres, really simple. And I'm hoping to get that launched very soon.
Oh, good.
So that'll be fun.
All right.
I'll come back. We'll talk about that.
Yes. I hope you do. I'm sure we could go on for hours
Another
and
hour.
hours and
Yes,
hours,
we
could. Are you making any new appearances or anything coming out?
Yes, I have a number of appearances coming up. The best way to kind of keep in touch with me is on tishrabe.com,
Yep.
which is my website. I have some personal appearances. I also want to remind everybody, too, that the Dr. Seuss Museum opened in Springfield, Massachusetts a year ago. The Amazing World of Dr. Seuss. And I've been there as a guest author many times. And it's just fascinating. It's all of his early drawings. How did he come up with these ideas in the first place? So I really urge people, it's Springfield, Mass. It's not a bad drive from here.
Yep.
Hour and 20, whatever. Really encourage people to do that.
Well, you have done a fantastic job carrying on his legacy.
Thank
you. Dr. Seuss is much bigger than people realize. I mean, think about it nowadays. I mean, there's major motion pictures, How the Grinch Stole
yes.
Christmas. And
Yes.
it touched all of us, even we've all, Dr. Seuss is like a household. It's like
It
Sherlock
is.
Holmes. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
It's a household, it's true.
Everybody.
Everybody.
And I think it's to take that on and to do that well is just, I think that's just fantastic.
Well, I'd like to end up with the two-line song I sing at the end. Reading and writing, both are so exciting. Read a book or write a story, start right now.
Right.
See?
Very good.
Keep reading, writing, and
Yep.
singing.
I encourage that. I'd love to see people do a lot more reading.
Yes.
And I do always encourage everybody. You have a famous local author right here in your midst.
Yes.
Go get her books. There's a lot of local writers and stuff. No
There
matter
are.
what genre you want, there's something there for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I encourage people to really, start here and then work your way out.
Right.
The bestseller list and all that, they'll always be there.
Yeah, they
Um,
will. That's true.
But help support the people that are, trying to bring a little spice in your life.
Yes,
You know?
absolutely.
So, well, I thank you so much, Tish, for
And thank
being
you
on
for
the
having
show.
me. It was
I
fun.
want you to come back again, please.
Yes, I will.
After you
Get
a
something
few
new?
more things. Yeah,
Sure.
a few more things going. So this has been Books and Beyond. I thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.